After a trip to the state playoffs on their 9-1 record in '93, the experts picked Hillsborough to go 5-5 in a rebuilding year, but the '94 Terriers knew this was to be a season of destiny. The first opponent, the lightly regarded Tampa Bay Tech. On the first series, a new starting defensive squad was to stuff Tech near their own goal line. That set up this Jamal Anderson 14-yard run down to the 6-yard line, and the ensuing first of 24 1994 touchdowns. Newcomers made their names known, like senior Kilo Langston with his hard hit, sophomore quarterback Jeremy Earl with a 12-yard pass to junior Jara McIntyre. That set up this 20-yard touchdown run by number 33, Derek Edmonds, with the help of crushing blocks by Joey Sipp and T. Jones. Special teams emphasized their presence in the '94 season very early, as exemplified by Trent Johnson with his outstanding effort on a kickoff return, and followed up a Tech score with an 89-yard kickoff return, seen here by Kilo Langston down the right side. Despite these efforts, however, a much tougher than expected Tampa Bay Tech Titan team led the Terriers at the half, 21-18. Great teams must play great goal line defense, and Adrian Mathis, Jimmy Cruz, Elias Chambers, Darius Clark, Jeff Sims, and Lonnie Tingle led the Terriers in 2 goal line stands in this first game of the year. Watch as Ishmael Knight knocks the Tech center into the backfield, blocking his own team's field goal attempt. Special teams continue to impact the game. Unfortunately, a penalty nullifies this 103-yard touchdown return by Derek Edmonds on the blocked kick. More great goal line defense. Tech, 4th and goal. Terriers stuff them. Late in the 4th quarter, the defense gives the Terriers one more chance to win. And from the 17, it's Juggy Anderson ripping through the defense and into the end zone. At the last moment, Paul Bebo with a punt out of bounds at the 4-yard line to pin the Titans deep in their own territory. Final score, Terriers 26, Tampa Bay Tech 23. Senior defensive end Jeff Sims sets the defensive tone for the night with his 7-yard loss for the Falcons. Jamal Anderson, a 33-yard run down the home side. Kicker Paul Bebo pins the Falcons once more deep in their own territory on the 20 with his 51-yard punt. Ishmael Knight and Kilo Langston lead the way on this crushing stop. A first down pass from Jeremy Earl to Juggy Anderson. And Anderson once more with a 51-yard run down the sideline to the 2. Two plays later, Anderson again, 4 yards into the end zone. Then it's senior Darius Clark with a 31-yard interception return for a touchdown for the Terriers. Bo Sierra's perfect snap sets up the second of Paul Bebo's points after to take the halftime score to 14-0. Jamal Anderson breaks 1, 2, 3, 4 hits and runs 75 yards for another touchdown for the Terriers. Once again, the defense comes up with the ball for the Terriers. That sets up this 31-yard pass play. Jeremy Earl to Jamal Anderson into the end zone. And Paul Bebo's third straight point after. Antoine Lewis recovers the third Leto fumble. Sophomore Kevin Jones comes in to make a big hit for the Terriers. And as Darius Clark makes the initial hit, watch Elias Chambers knock Jeff Sims out of his way in his rush to get to the ball carrier. Left tackle Ishmael Knight makes a crushing block on the right side to free up Derek Edmonds, who takes directions from Coach Simmons as he runs 79 yards 2 feet to the 1-foot line. Paul Bebo puts his 5th point after through the uprights, and that avenges the only 93 regular season loss for the Terriers. Torrential rains that delayed the start of the game almost an hour didn't stop Trent Johnson from forcing a fumble on the opening kickoff right into the hands of Derek Edmonds. And a 39-yard pass from quarterback Jeremy Earl to Tavares Russ was the only points the Terriers would need. Derek Edmonds for the defense, a big hit on a Jefferson receiver. And Elias Chambers and Kevin Jones chase down the Jefferson quarterback to force an INT for Darius Clark. Jimmy Cruz, nice hit on the outside to force the Jefferson receiver all the way to the sideline, stopped for no gain. Lonnie Tingle comes up to force the fumble, again right into the hands of Derek Edmonds. Early in the second quarter, it's Kevin Jones who gets into the backfield and forces Jefferson's quarterback to throw the ball too far outside for his receiver to get to. And once more for the defense, Cedric Roberts forces a fumble to stop Jefferson's deepest penetration into Hillsborough territory. Adrian Mathis covers the ball. On a dragon punt, Kilo Langston, Derek Edmonds, and Isaac Bristol grab the punter, throw him to the ground as the snap is too low. And very shortly thereafter, it's Jamal Anderson with a 7-yard touchdown run to seal off the game at 12-0 over the eventual 5A District 6 champs Jefferson. first time since 1987. It was high school football at Tampa Stadium, and the Terriers were determined to prove they belonged there. First play from scrimmage. Jamal Anderson breaks some tackles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 tackles broken as he goes 80 yards for a touchdown. Paul Bebo adds the point after. Terriers 7-0. 16 seconds off the clock. Adrian Mathis forces a fumble, and Cedric Roberts comes up with the ball. In the second quarter, Terriers again on the attack. Jamal Anderson breaks a couple of tackles, 59 yards, 6 points Hillsborough. Defense Terrier style leads the way. And when the ball comes loose, there are red uniforms everywhere around it. At the half, Terriers lead at Brandon 14-7. The Terrier defense keeps up the pressure on the Eagles. And with the Terriers in possession again, once more from the 43, it's Lonnie Tingle, 28 yards to the 15. A couple of plays later, 2 yards for Jamal Anderson as he crashes into the goal line. And again, the defense stops the Eagles as Ishmael Knight forces a fumble. And that one is covered up by Antoine Lewis for the Terriers. Paul Bebo in the stadium, 22 yards for 3 points for the Terriers. For a 24-10 lead. The defense continues to pressure Brandon. And cornerback Jimmy Cruz comes up with a precious interception. And a fine return, juking past a number of Eagle defenders. Bring the ball back inside the 15. Moments later, it's quarterback Jeremy Earl with a 7-yard touchdown pass into the corner for Darius Clark over an Eagle defender. The Terriers celebrate as the clock winds down, a 31-10 victory over Brandon, and 4 unbeaten games to start the season. In front of a roaring home crowd, Jeff Sims and Darius Clark lead the defense. Ishmael Knight causes a fumble. Darius Clark picks it up and carries to the 20. Here it comes. Fumbalaya, Hillsborough ball. Jeremy Earl pass to Cedric Roberts. Down the sideline. First down, Terriers. Behind the blocking of Greg Phillips and Jeremy Strange, it's Jamal Anderson. Plant gets a bad snap. Cedric Roberts comes up with the big hit on Plant quarterback Trey Korn. Dietrich George and Jara McIntyre spring Anderson once more, this time for a 68-yard touchdown. The Terriers with a little trickery and deceit. Even the cameraman is fooled into missing this pass that goes 79 yards to Darius Clark and a touchdown. Terriers score at the half, 29-0. In the third quarter, the Terriers continue punishing the Panthers. A Lonnie Tingle 19-yard run up to the 11. And then from the 1-yard line, Tingle again for the touchdown. Ishmael Knight all over quarterback Trey Korn. And now it's Jeff Sims coming up with a blocked punt and a touchdown for the big guy. Paul Bebo with one of many points after for the night. That brings the Terrier lead to 42-0. On the kickoff return from the 21, Trent Johnson is just one block shy of a 79-yard touchdown. He has to settle for just crossing midfield. A play or two later, however, Johnson soothes his feelings with his 40-yard run into the end zone. For the Terrier defense, Eric Coleman with the first hit and the third hit and causing the fumble and a Terrier recovery. The Terriers now 5-0, beat the Panthers 49-18. When it came time to go to Chamberlain to play the Chiefs, it was another big win for the Terriers to go 6-0. On this play, Lonnie Tingle and Ishmael Knight come up with the big blocks to break Jamal Anderson free for a 65-yard touchdown, the first of 4 on the night. Then it's time for the defense as Lonnie Tingle and Alias Chambers. Good defense. More defense from Antoine Lewis, Darius Clark, and Jeff Sims. Smashing Chamberlain's big man to the ground. On this play, Jeremy Earl hits Jaw McIntyre for 59 yards and another Terrier touchdown. And the defense goes back to work. Watch number 44, Adrian Mathis with a big hit on the Chamberlain receiver. And watch now as Chamberlain's entire defensive line hits the ground as Jamal Anderson breaks 5 tackles on the way to a 49-yard touchdown. And soon after, there was a flag in the backfield that called back this 75-yard run. Again, the defense keeps things going for the Terriers as Antoine Lewis puts pressure on the quarterback. Derek Edmonds picks up his 4th interception of the year. At the half, the Terriers had a big lead, 21-10. Trent Johnson now, kickoff return for 53 yards. And the Terriers go back into the razzle-dazzle. This time it's Earl to Jara McIntyre to Kilo Langston. 56 yards, but the double pass is called back. A turning point in the game as Chamberlain threatened the Terrier lead. Junior Philip Clark, with great hustle, causes a Chamberlain fumble, which he then falls on to recover for the Terriers. On the next play, it's Juggy Anderson behind some more blocking to score his 3rd touchdown of the night from 15 yards away. The offensive line shuts out Chamberlain, and Anderson again for 37 more yards. Juggy scores his 4th touchdown of the night on this 18-yard run. For the night, 252 yards of 4 touchdowns, a 75-yard run for a touchdown called back. Darius Clark on Chamberlain's last offensive effort with a big hit on the receiver. The final score, Terriers 34, Chamberlain 16. Good offense starts on the line. Watch as Greg Phillips comes up with a great block to spring Juggy Anderson. And the entire offensive line enabled Jeremy Earl and Jara McIntyre to hook up on this 62-yard touchdown bomb. Terrier defense is no slouch either. They know how to deal with the wishbone, spreading it out to the side and over the sideline. Ishmael Knight and Kevin Jones team up for this big sack near the end zone. And for the 3rd time in the year, the Terriers block a field goal. Second half kickoff goes to Kilo Langston at the 5. He breaks it for 71 yards down to the 24. The kickoff team pins East Bay deep in their own territory at the 21-yard line. Big Antoine Lewis picks up this fumble and rumbles all the way down to the 2-yard line. On the next play, quarterback Jeremy Earl can't believe his eyes as he sees that East Bay defense has forgotten to cover Tavares Russ. Touchdown, Terriers. On this punt return, John McIntyre almost breaks it. He only has a couple of Indians to get past to break it all the way down for a 75-yard return. Another gaping hole by the offensive line springs Trent Johnson for this 36-yard run. Shortly thereafter, it's Johnson again, this time in to score. Trent Johnson once more. On the outside, he takes the flip and gets to the 5 before he's wrestled out. Then Greg Phillips, Jeff Sims, and Adrian Mathis block on the line to let Johnson slide in for the score. Final score, Terriers 40, Indians 0, Hillsborough now 7-0 and 7th in the state. Before a sellout crowd at Gaither's Cowboys Stadium, a showdown for the district championship. Jamal Anderson goes in to tie the game at 7 apiece. The Terriers have a powerful defense against an equally powerful offense. Antoine Lewis and Adrian Mathis here for the defense. String it out and stop the play at the line. At the half, it's Terriers 7, Cowboys 7. And on the second half kickoff, it goes to Kilo Langston. Kilo breaks to the left side of the field and almost gets by the last couple of defenders. And the Terriers, early in the fourth quarter, are down 14-7. The Gaither quarterback turns a broken play into a Gaither score to make the lead 21-7. But Hillsborough fights back. Jeremy Earl with an 8-yard gain on a broken play. And Earl through the air to Greg Phillips down to the 7-yard line. Jamal Anderson closes the score to 1 touchdown, 21-14. And the defense gives the Terriers one more chance with 3 minutes left to play. But the Terriers are just 1 block away from playing overtime on this reverse. But it wasn't meant to be tonight, as the Cowboys come away victorious, 21-14. It would have been easy to get down after the loss to Gaither, but the Terriers knew that the game against district opponent King was the key to a berth in the state playoffs. Defense was the name of the game as the Terriers handed the Lions their first shutout of the year. Trent Johnson breaking a run to the far side. And the entire Terrier offense becomes the Red Sea to lead Jamal Anderson to the promised land of the goal line. As always, the special teams shown. On this punt, it's Jar McIntyre picking up the ball at the 25, breaking tackles up to the 50. Against the state's second leading passer, it was Derek Edmonds with the first of 4 Terrier interceptions. Carrying this one all the way down to the 2-yard line. Then it's Juggy Anderson putting the Terriers up at the half, 14-0. On the second half kickoff, it's Kilo Langston picking the ball at the 15. A little help from his buddy Philip Clark here with a great block to ensure the 85-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Big Jeff Sims puts on the pressure. The ball ends up in the hands of Kilo Langston, Terrier interception. The line again protecting Jeremy Earl. He goes to Greg Phillips on the far side. Phillips into the end zone. Defense again keying on that number 2 passer in the state, Elias Chambers, with an interception. And Jeremy Earl dives over the end line. With 9/10 of a second left, King had one chance left to avoid the shutout. A swing pass to the left side. Adrian Mathis on the receiver, and down he goes. Final score, Terriers 34, King 0. Roberts Knights came to visit, but the Hillsborough defense was determined not to be good hosts. They wanted their second straight shutout. Early on, it's T. Jones with a great block to help Lonnie Tingle up the middle for 6 points. And as usual, the special teams were important. Eric Coleman deep in Knight territory with a big stop. Philip Clark maintains the tradition for the defense as he strings this one outside and goes for the sack. As Robinson gets to midfield, they try the right side, but the Terrier defense stops it over there. He comes back to the left, but the entire Terrier defense is now in the Knight backfield to stop this play for a 4-yard loss. The Knights try a different attack, going through the air, but Cedric Roberts comes up with a big interception for the Terriers. And after a Terrier touchdown, Greg Phillips waits near the back of the end zone for a 2-point conversion, but Jar McIntyre runs in front to take it away. Darius Clark on a big defensive play. The Knights fumble, Clark's on top of the ball. The offensive line comes up with a great surge to free Elias Chambers up the middle. And behind Jeremy Strange, Joe Sipp, T. Jones, and Isaac Bristol, Trent Johnson scores once more. Jeremy Earl airs it out. 59-yard touchdown to Jar McIntyre as he splits the defense. And the Terrier defense comes up with yet another turnover on this fumble. Now it's Jamal's turn. He slithers to the outside and goes through the last defender to score his touchdown. Then Jeremy Earl stands in the pocket and completes a 35-yarder to Reamer McIntyre for another Terrier touchdown. Late in the game, it's Philip Clark to the left. And following Mauricio Williams and Kevin Jones blocks, it's Philip Clark to the right. This time, into the end zone for a Terrier touchdown. Final score, Terriers 47, Knights 0. The Terriers have been unbeaten at home during the regular season since the new staff came on in 1993. 2 unbeaten home seasons. 1995 looks very promising for the Terriers with 15 starters returning and the coaching staff intact. We'll see you at Chelo Huerta Field.